Good morning, hope everybody's doing well. Today we're working on the hallway. So we're going to try to refinish these floors and get them brought back to somewhat of a more original state. They're really bad right now because they're covered in years of carpet glue, floor glue. So over here on the edges, on both sides, I've already scraped the floor glue off all the way down the hallway on both sides. A part of the hallway I've already done, but it took a good little while to sit and scrape the glue off the sides. Now we tried in another spot here in the hallway using a bigger floor scraper to scrape off the glue in the center. We also tried chemicals. Nothing worked very well and it scarred up the floor pretty bad. I'll take you down here on the other side and show you that real quick, what it looked like. So in this area right here, I used a grinder with a flat disc and it removed the glue, but it burnt through the flapper disc as well as left the floor pretty scarred. Over here, we tried a adhesive remover and it did okay. Left a big gummy residue you had to deal with. That was a pretty big mess. And then when you had to scrape it off, you end up putting big gouges in the floor and everything, and it still left a lot of residue behind. And it was taking forever. That's what we did down the main chunk of both sides here. Over on the edges, because this used to be covered in carpet at one point in time, before they put carpet glue down, the whole hallway. Before they glued carpet down, the whole hallway had basically a runner carpet that went down the center that was nailed. That's why you have these dark lines on the edges. And where it sits, that carpet glue does not want to come off at all. And it is a complete fight. We've had a lot of trouble with it, and we tried a multitude of different things, different floor scrapers, different techniques, and it was just taking forever. For us to do this whole hallway would have taken days and days. We have the floor sander that you may have seen in other videos. We have an attachment for it that is basically, let me see if I can get it flipped up here. It's basically a round disc with a bunch of carbide scrapers on it. And what it does is it just eats the glue off the top. As you can see here, this is a little section I was just doing. I did this whole little section in 3 minutes. And it is a fight to use this floor buffer, floor sander with this. It takes you for a ride. But it is so much quicker than trying to scrape it and cheaper than having to buy chemicals and everything like that. And it actually leaves the wood in a pretty decent condition. It's hard to tell right here, so I need to sweep it up some. You can tell where it can't get because of low spots, so we'll have to go back and scrape it ourselves by hand. But for the majority of the glue, it got it all off the floor. You got it to a much more startable point where we can come back and sand it. So let's get some more sanding done. All right, the camera doesn't do it much justice, but this is the floor afterwards. I still need to sweep it a good bit better. Did a rough sweep, but so much better. And no scraping, fighting, chemicals, or any of that stuff. It's a whole lot better. Now it is a really, really rough floors right now, as you can hear, but with our floor buffer sander, we will go over it and just do some regular sanding. But you can't do sanding on top of the glue. You can't even sand off the glue because it just builds up on the pads and you'll get nowhere. Especially with that buffer. If that buffer starts getting too much grip, it'll just jump out of your hands. So we've already started working the hallway here again. My mom and stepdad were working on staining the trim and molding and everything. But we finished the floor and it looks amazing. Let me turn you around here. Maybe. Found the camera would turn. Okay. So here are the floors in the hallway after they've had 2 coats of poly on them. And we do have protected on where we walk on for right now. But these things look amazing. They're not perfect, and you wouldn't expect them to be for being 100 years old, but they look amazing. You can see on this side where my, if I can get to focus, my mom and stepdad have already gone down through and restained the trim. Over here on this side still needs done. And they'll get the windows and stuff over here, but the doorway and everything here has already been done, as well as these windows, and it looks awesome. They've done an amazing job out here.